Hi, good morning, everyone. Good evening and afternoon from whichever time zone you guys are attending from. Yes, I know it's already 12 and I'm coming in between your lunchtime. But this won't be boring at all. Trust me, because I'm going to talk about important things which matters in this AI era. I'm going to talk about the AI fundamentals all the way to production. So this workshop, this talk will be all about fundamentals, production ready AI, how we are fixing bugs in production and make it ready for all the deployments and all the production ready deployments for the future use. Yep. And quick heads up for all of you guys. This will be an interactive session. I'm going to ask you questions in between. Be ready for that. And just as a ritual, this is a traditional slide. A brief about myself. Hi again. My name is Mansi More. I'm an AI developer, evangelist, technical writer, speaker, and workshop facilitator for Google Cloud's AI tools. I build AI systems from simple RAG to complex autonomous agentic pipelines. I love teaching and I write technical tutorials for developers to get started and do workshops like this. And yep, no more talking about myself. And like I mentioned, this will be an interactive session. So I'm going to start with my first question. Did you all know which year Transformer research paper was released in? So, and this one is simple. That's right, 2017. In 2017, eight researchers from Google DeepMind, they released this research paper, Attention is All You Need. They introduced Transformers architecture to the world. And then Walt came up with very well-known AI models like ChatGPT, Gemini, what else? Perplexity, DeepSeek. And then again, if you want to go in detail with LLM, if you want to know how exactly these AI models predict next word or how it works behind the scene, this would be highly recommended from my side and even from all the big AI researchers. I want to know how many of you are founders of the AI startup. Anyone? What is it about? What is your startup? What is the name of your startup?
Cognitive trust.
I see. What do you guys do?
So we basically build trust layer for agentic coding. So this is very close to what we are trying to solve.
And have you guys shipped your product already?
Customers, yes.
Oh, nice. Congratulations for that. What about you?
Nolia.
What's the name of your?
Nolia.
Okay.
And we have critical infrastructure managers to decide how to build and maintain their infrastructure to be resilient to natural disasters and climate change in future.
Do you guys shipped it? Is it production ready?
Yes.
And do you already have clients?
Our European clients.
So, anybody else? Yes, please.
I'm from Brevian and we build AI for enterprise sales teams.
I see. And is it production ready? This already?
We have customers across the world.
Oh, that's nice. Congratulations, guys, for your startup. And my next question maybe is for you guys. Have you ever faced any fail in your AI systems or maybe on the production level? Starting with you.
Yes.
How did you guys
Doesn't fail, you have different.
exactly? So how did you guys went through that? And how much time did you take to rebuild it and again make it production ready?
Again, the answer is it depends, right? The nature of the career. Luckily, since we don't have that many enterprise customers, it
Uh-huh.
wasn't bad. Lives were lost, no impact on revenue or anything. But so the recent one, 2 weeks back, it took us, I want to say even this day and age, and it's going to make me look bad, but it took us 4 hours to recover.
That is not bad, I would say. Because the company where I was working on, the loss was different. And we took a lot of time to find out why exactly our AI went wrong. So that was the good one. And yeah, once it fails, that's how we get to know what are the mistakes we should not do in the next time. So that is good. What about you?
I'm in product management,
Uh-huh.
and I'm actually fighting every day with developers.
That's true.
We half a day to vibe code an entire new product. We struggle to put everything in production. They don't want to use AI because they don't trust the results. We struggle. They may take 4 months to ship something, and I want them to take 4 days to do. And this current issue with the many companies are facing to production in AI.
And did your product fail because of confusion of vibe coding? Confusion happened because of vibe coding or just any developer issue or any? What was the issue? I'm just trying to figure out.
I'm the vibe coder, can ship prototype that is working to customers
Okay.
hours, and our customers say, okay, I want this. And then the team needs 4 months to ship in production because they don't use AI.
They don't use
They
AI.
don't trust AI for
Whoa.
production grades.
That is new.
Things. They want them to use AI, but they don't trust. And I don't know how to help because I'm not technical enough.
I get it. That is actually a critical issue. I'm going to talk about that. But yeah, moving on to you.
Yeah, we do. So when you deploy agents, there were some we got to learn things in a hard way where they do work in my I'm a researcher. I'm a researcher myself. So they do work in my environment, like with limited data that I'm. But yeah, the moment it goes to production, see users and like the users, the people who use our product are fairly not technical, the salespeople, right? So and the queries that we get from them obviously didn't break our system when we were like fairly young as a company. And we did learn how to stores early and all, but yeah, we did see production failures where agent was misbehaving and we didn't know.
What exactly is that? No.
They were like, we have agentic systems and access to tools and doing stuff. And like, there were cases where users was asking some things, developing a case study for their competitor or something like that. And something else, hallucinations and all. And as systems, the models got better. We have systems in place to catch these and rectify in real time now. Yeah, when we started, it took us like at least a day, actually figure out why this happened and you have to go back to the prompt now. Yeah, you have to fix a prompt and later you need to figure out a way to not make this happen in real time or catch it immediately so that, or like you have to observability part of it. So yeah.
Prompting is a very critical thing and makes a big impact in our lives. Yeah. The reason behind asking these questions is not only AI startup, but if you are building something, if you are building a normal AI, simple RAG chatbot, even in that, if you hit a live demo, if it fails, or I don't know if you have seen Mark Zuckerberg's live demo where the Meta glasses, the live demo, it got failed. Even big AI researchers cannot stop AI feeling. And it's not the specific issue, it can be anything. And that's what today's talk is about. I'm going to cover. This is what happened in live demo, guys. This is what my talk is about. And it's not working. It's a very connect. Oh. And we wait for some time and then again come back to whatever we were doing. So yes, this is what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna give you guys a brief explanation about AI. We all know what exactly happens, what AI models does, but nobody knows what happens behind the scenes. So I'm gonna give you a brief about that. I will explain deep technical architecture of agentic pipeline. What is the complete architecture from starting from the scratch to the production level. Then we will talk the reasons, 5 reasons what exactly happens in between that production, in that AI execution. And I will talk about Langsmith, which is one of the LangChain's best platform for evaluation and observability, AI observability. And then we will end up with me showing you guys a live demo. Yep, this is what AI is. In short, we give prompt, model generates the answer, generate the response in a structured way, and it's on is what happens in the background. And yep, Mansi, you told us that you're going to talk about behind the scenes. Yes, this all we know. ChatGPT, we give prompt, it gives answers back. We all know front end of AI. Let's just get to know back end of generative AI, what exactly happens behind the scene. So generative AI, you all know, is a term of artificial intelligence which generates response for you in task and or any kind of file format. It can be anything, file, text, CSV, Excel, JSON format. And generative AI learns from the massive amount of data set. It can be again anything because large company has a lot of data from different resources. Can be anything. It can be in S3, on GCP, maybe on Google Drives, Outlook. It is available on all resources. So first task is to fetch the data set from all the resources at one platform. And that learning from those massive amount of data, that learning is called training. And the training further results into creation of foundation models. Foundation models are nothing but our language models, which we use. Not only ChatGPT and Perplexity, but there's one more typical example of foundation model is PaLM, which was released by Google, which is language generation. Then we have our multi-model processing AI models, which is nothing but, like I mentioned, very typical by default models in every core we use. And then we have Cody for code generation, Imagen, Nano Banana for image generation, VO for video generation. Brilliant AI models. And those models, those foundation models, they generate new content for us to solve the specific problems. So specific problems can be anything. Any small shitty thing like explain me or summarize me this document or just extract the data or extract the image from 800 pages of paper. But now, if you are working for healthcare company, if you are working for finance project, or you just want to fetch your good in stock market and you want to fetch current stock market prices, you need up-to-date information. And for AI startups, it is important for your AI model to be up to date. Companies, trust me, AI companies are spending millions of dollars just to buy those up-to-date AI models. But this is not it, right? This is already trained model. Let's say if you ask your ChatGPT, tell me about Iran's war. It won't be able to tell you because there is this term in AI, knowledge cutoff. If you ask your ChatGPT, what is the knowledge cutoff for this model? It will tell you that answer is nothing but your model. What was the latest date your model was trained on? Even you can do it with any AI model. That is outdated data. And if you want the current information or any research which was going on in healthcare, you need to train those models with new data sets again. But that training model is a very big task. It takes a lot of computational power. It is expensive. It is time consuming. So companies, instead of training the whole data set, they retrain the existing foundation model. And retraining those foundation model with new data sets is nothing but fine tuning. So right now, 5.5, 5.1, 5.3, those models are repeatedly training on existing models. And that's why we have fine-tuned models. That is nothing but fine-tuned models, which generates or solve the specific problems. When I say specific problems, I again would love to mention about the stock market because that is when people say AI is not financial advisor. It cannot be, but you can take help of it and use your brain, and you can make most of it in your stock market account. This was all about fine tuning. I've taken many interviews and I've got to know that people misunderstood concept that fine tuning and RAG is same. It's not similar. Fine tuning is a huge process. Multiple matrix multiplication happens in the background if neural networks. A lot of layers are going on in the background. And it is time consuming, expensive. Also, company prefer RAGs process. It is retrieval augmented generation. The difference in between these are fine tuning happens before the execution. RAG happens during runtime. Let's say user asks query, it goes inside runtime retrieval. And that query goes inside our knowledge base to fetch just a related information. So this time we will not have the unstructured information. We will have just relevant information. Then this is not easy because there are few terms which are a bit complicated. Let's say vector DB. Vector DB. Why do we have vector DB? We have LLMs first of all don't understand text. It understands numerical language. So to convert text into numerical format, and those numerical formats are nothing but embeddings. Our normal databases cannot store, only can store data like rows, column, features, but store embeddings, those multiple millions of numerical formats, numbers, we need special data. And that special database is nothing but vector database. We store embeddings in vector database. There are multiple examples available right now, which is nothing but Quadrant, Vivian, Chroma, Pineco. And that is nothing but to see what are the related information as per query. That is nothing but knowledge base. It can be anything. Let's say if you ask what is the name of your startup, Navya? So if you ask ChatGPT about his startup, maybe it might not be able to tell you because it's not on the production level. But if you train your ChatGPT and give all the information about your company, it will now know what exactly your company is about. That is nothing but sharing or just attaching external information to the existing one. And that runtime retrieval will fetch the user's query and knowledge base related relevant information and give it to LLM. And LLM will generate the answer. Why LLM? Because LLM are very good in generating structured answer. All the information, all the data which is available on the internet is in raw format. It is in JSON or maybe CSV file. And we need to convert that into it when again. Give me a minute. Okay, there we go. All the information which is available on the internet, we need to take that in a structured format, and LLMs are very good in that. And that's how we get the response. This was about simple RAG, which we can even build on our local systems. Let's talk about the deep technical architecture of agentic pipeline. This is what happens in the background itself. This might look complex, but it's actually not. There is a process. Let's say first process is data sources, goes into data ingestion, then vector databases, and AI models would generate the answers. API servers are the entry points and then come up with the multi-sub agents. I'm going to explain you step by step. There's the data sources. Like I mentioned, there is a data available in multiple resources, and it's its work to fetch all that data on one platform. Then goes inside the document loaders, which fetch the relevant information or reads that data and convert it into the text and see what exactly it basically index those data. Then chunking happens. Chunking is nothing but splitting your text into small pieces. So instead of using the whole sentence or paragraph, LLM prefer to see the information into chunks. Embeddings which I explained, convert text into numbers, and graph extraction is nothing but it is about relations, the ages and nodes. It see what is exactly, let's say user's query is there, what is the relation of that question or the information which is available to us. It again goes into the vector databases. Like I mentioned, Quadrant is one of the good example of vector database. Then we have Neo4j again, which is very good graph search AI startup, which is currently on demand. Then we have Racer to serve infra to scale your AI startups. This is the process which goes inside AI model serves, which is nothing but LLM. Takes all the embedding models, the retrieved response, and then give answers to our multi-sub agent. So now here planner agent is our main agent, which has two different agents. First is vector search and the another is graph search. Yep. So planner agent is nothing but our brain of our agentic pipeline, and those two are, let's say, founders or co-founders of that brain. And this is what happened in the background, where we have these API gateways, RAG engine, cache layer. Cache layer is nothing but to reduce the token size or token cost. If you are a part of startup, you know even each tokens, how much they eat on all the money from your company. So taking notes of those tokens, how we can reduce the cost of those tokens is really important when you're running a company. And auth and security is basically giving an access control to people or to the other resources to fetch information or to have information about your company. And this is what happens when user asks query, it goes inside the entry level API services, fetch the information, related information from Venkat database, and gives back the answer. And these are our deployment platforms, Kubernetes and there, Docker, AWS, where you can using those you can deploy your project. And according to me, the people who wants to dig into AI and want to learn about AI, these steps are the crucial steps, I would say, to know about AI, because people who like white coding, they can go through the documents which are available on the internet. The people who want to dig into coding, want software engineer, they can start by learning about code, Python, any of the programming language. I just mentioned Python over here, JavaScript, R. And then you can start with ML Foundation, neural networks. If you have heard about neural networks, there is this layer, input layer, output layer, and there are like millions of layers inside those input and output. So you would need to really know about these concepts, why deep learning is important, what exactly transformer is. Transformer architecture is this one, which I researched paper, which I mentioned. And the LLMs are depend on that. And you can end up with building projects, starting with simple RAG projects, and then you can deploy it on cloud at the end. And being a part of community and workshops like these would also be a good option. And these are the top AI pages you can follow even on Reddit. If you're like scrolling Instagram, there are few of the pages which gives you day-to-day tech news, what happens exactly in 24 hours. They just give you in few of the pictures. So these having a good control on your social media platforms with all the pages, with the data you're following is really important to be up to date with the AI technology, current AI technology. And this question is for everyone. You guys have built a lot of AI projects, might have built AI projects. So what do you think breaks AI or not giving not proper response? What can be the reason of those things? Anyone? What exactly happened when AI is not working fine or maybe hallucinating?
Get some incorrect response.
Incorrect responses, which is nothing but hallucination. Anyone? Yes.
You need to put a lot of concrete in the skills and all it down to really follow my instruction.
You've been giving instructions to a chatbot.
Not to the chat, but to the AI agent. I use Hermes and CloudBot.
Oh,
So need to be very structured accurate to do the coding.
oh, it need to be accurate so that we can get.
For the skills MD.
I get it. On cloud, you're talking about cloud code.
Yeah.
Anyone? What exactly breaks in production started with hallucination? We don't know. Few times we don't check why human in loop is important, because sometimes we misleads the information AI. I come up with the wrong answer. Even small wrong answer can lead to fail the complete project or responses of AI in the production. Second is context explosion. If you have used Cloud Code, you can see 200 tokens till when you reach 180K tokens, it starts hallucinating or forgetting all the above information. That is nothing but context exploding. You have to make your context window very small and accurate. The third option can be wrong tool. If you hardcore your AI agent, and when you use core, that time you know what are the tools you are using for your AI. So when you use wrong tools, when you select wrong tools, that also lead to the wrong AI answer. Let's say you're asking for what is the daily limit for my banking account, and it gives you the credential of your account. That is PII leakage, right? That is which means it is giving sensitive information out to the people, which is wrong, and that is lead to wrong tool selection. The next is agent loop. Again, if you don't give proper information, if we don't have context window, we select wrong tool, the agent will do the same looping and it will end up with the wrong, giving wrong answer or failing AI in the production. And the very important step here is evaluation. You all know AI evaluation. So monitoring and observing your AI is really important to see for many things which we cannot see just by looking at the answer, but there are few things which we can monitor using these AI evaluation platforms. Again, there are many AI startups which have these observability platforms like LangChain, they have Arise AI, Galileo, and there are weights and biases which has evaluation observability platform which monitors AI performance. They check your performance of your AI. And that's what I was gonna talk to you guys about. LangChain is one of the very well-known example of that. If you have given an interview, if you have applied for AI engineer role, AI developer role, you might have seen you should be experienced in orchestration tools like Crew AI and LangChain. Why LangChain? Because it can do all the things together in one on one step. It can connect your tools with LLMs from different resources. It will give your app ability to plan all the things as and to store memory for your data set, and then it come up with the agents which will decide what exactly all the task it decides by itself. And there are like four very well-known platforms of LangChain, and I want you guys to just give me a one line on one word about these tools if you have heard about them. Do you guys know what LangChain or
What kind of framework to build the agents?
That's right. So when you code your agent, when you hard code that time, you have to use few of the libraries. And LangChain is the open source framework which will allow you to use all the tools by using just LangChain's library. So if you have to build your AI agent, you can use LangChain. The next is LangGraph. LangGraph is nothing but to install or to use multiple steps or advanced AI model at the same time. So LangGraph is, we can say, to scale up your startup, we can use LangGraph. Then we have LangFlow. LangFlow is nothing but drag and drop your tools on the one platform. When you have prototype in your mind, you need to put it on the paper, right? So instead of putting it on a paper, you can just open LangFlow, drag and drop tools. Let's say you want to use database, GCP on platform storage. You can drag GCP. You can, if you want to use OpenAI, you can drag OpenAI LLM. So to prototype, if you want to prototype your AI startup, you can start with LangFlow. And LangSmith finally is for shipping. When I said shipping, before shipping, you have to check the performance of your AI. And that's what we do with LangSmith. And the reason behind taking LangChain is they are not giving me money and not promoting LangChain. It's just I'm giving you guys a brief overview how you can use only one thing in today's world and also come up with the $1 million of startup. And this can be the great start if you want to if you don't know about AI and want to start with AI. Like I mentioned, it is observability for all LLM app. I know I'm running out of time and I'm not gonna take much time and will dive into the code. This is very simple code where I have explained, I'm asking my chatbot, like simple rat chatbot, explain me like 5 years old. Like just I'm using two tools, web search tool and summarize tool. User gonna ask question, you're gonna use tools and come up with the answer. And when I run this code, I asked what is LangChain. It came up with this answer. When we go on Lang, this is Langsmith's dashboard. When I see the performance of my AI, if you see in the right side, you can see the question, input and answer. Inference will be that side. Here in this side, you can see how your AI is performing. Next, you can see the seconds here. That is nothing but latency. How your AI and to respond on something. There are two tools it used, search, and the second was search results JSON, where we used Anthropic model. So when you have this was just a small example when you make autonomous agentic pipeline which used a lot of tools. It is very difficult to track those tools to know where exactly it went wrong. So this is the best formula to check the performance or check the latency or let's say accuracy where exactly your AI is hallucinating. That this can be a good platform to use that. All I wanted to convey here today was AI is very vast. And let's just not jump on learning new AI tools. Let's say Lovable was there, Replit was there, then Lovable came. It's Lovable and Replit are very good, very well-known web creation platforms. Then now Claude Code is there, which is like everybody, even from my side, I cancelled all my subscription and I have my Max Pro subscription of Claude Code. That good Claude Code is. And this is just a starting and very good big things will come in the future. So why not starting with only learn about concepts which are there currently and then start with the vast concept and making a selection of tool. Right tool is really important. And that's what my today's talk was about. I hope you guys understood and was not overwhelming. Thank you.